Truth is a revolutionary act. Welcome to the Objective Podcast with your host, Jay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Talk Headlines series. I'm your host, Jay, and this is The Objective. Thanks for tuning in to Season 2, Episode 16 of the Let's Talk Headlines series. I'm always happy to have each and every one of you here. Before we get into our show today, I do have a few topics I want to speak on. Hopefully I don't get sidetracked. But before we get into the show, if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, you can check me out at The Objective Podcast. To be honest with you guys, I'm not posting content on my feed every day, but typically I'll daily have updates on my my live feed, I guess you call it. Pretty much the videos that you post that kind of delete within 24 hours. So I keep kind of up to date on that, posting sort of news articles that stand out and whatnot. Also, if you guys haven't already, be sure to check out www.politicalstorm.com. I am a happy member of the Political Storm team and a contributor to the website. If you guys want to check out some great conservative content, be sure to check out politicalstorm.com, leave comments, share the articles. And also, I actually don't have a Facebook, but I know that Political Storm does have a Facebook where they also post great content from the contributors, such as myself and a lot of great other talented individuals. So be sure to check out www.politicalstorm.com. I want to thank you for joining me here today. I just want to say how much of an honor it is even to discuss, to have a voice that can be disseminated, and different people, whoever's interested, can actually sit down and they can kind of hear your voice and hear your thoughts. I think that's such a blessing. I think that's so great. And I think we need more of that. And I believe that if you have a voice and if you have an opinion that you want to share, I think you need to take advantage of the opportunity that we have today to do that. It's not always been that way. There have been times in history where you have book burnings and, you can't express your thoughts or you can't express your beliefs. But, in the West, we have that opportunity. So if you have an ideology, if you have a belief, if you want to articulate your views, grab a mic, get a computer, get some editing software, and make a page. Make a podcast, go on SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever you can. But I think it's important, and I think it's great to, challenge your ideas with other ideas, debate with people to either reinforce your views or to change your views. That's what we need to get back to. Intellectual honesty and just good, healthy dialogue. I love it. The first story today, I have covered this previously, Jussie Smollet. Obviously, there are some new developments in this Jussie Smollet case. He believes he's in the clear, and he might be, but the people responsible for dusting this investigation and this criminal investigation under the rug have some questions to answer. Tina Chen, the ex-Michelle Obama staffer, actually evaded subpoena service. She says she's not going to allow the process server into the building or up into the law firm. She just has no intention of being served this subpoena to answer for whatever happened with the investigation. We know that Kim Foxx, the state attorney who dropped those charges, it's in the public's interest to know exactly what took place, and the public deserves to know what took place, because there are people, who have committed less crimes than that, who have committed misdemeanors, not even one felony, not even 16 felonies or 15 felonies, who are being prosecuted, they're being convicted. So it is in the public's interest, for the sake of justice and the integrity of justice, to know exactly what happened. Was there political sway here? Was this a power move? Was this the result of being connected to some powerful people? So there is interest, and I believe May 31st, there's a hearing for a special counsel to be assigned to that investigation and to figure out exactly what had happened. Why was he completely, not even exonerated, but just the whole thing just collapsed? Why was the whole thing just swept under the rug? So I will be keeping up to date on that, and I will be keeping you folks up to date on that if you are interested. This next topic is an interesting topic, and I think you will find interest in it as well. And the more that time progresses, just based on the patterns that we're seeing regarding nationwide injunctions, this will become a hot button issue. And Justice Clarence Thomas said and alluded to the fact that just based on the patterns, the Supreme Court may have to adjudicate this issue because it is a troubling pattern. Now, you have a elected president who has the authority to make executive orders, to make policy changes, those things that are under the umbrella of presidential authority. And then on the other hand, you have an unelected federal judge who has the power to circumvent, or the power to stop, and I use this term loosely, obstruct the presidential authority. So, for example, some nationwide injunctions were invoked for, let's see here, what do I have? Rescinding grant money to sanctuary cities, rolling back DACA with the Dreamers, the travel ban, restrictions on transgender people serving in the military, and other abortion-related directives. So these are just a few, but federal judges have been able to just obstruct the administration's policy and legislative agenda, and they are unelected individuals. And that's the most troubling thing about it. You have a president who was put into office by people through an electoral process, democracy, just the way that things work. And then you have these unelected folk, these judges, who there are people and critics who say that these are left-leaning judges who are using their power, using their authority, their legal authority in a political way. They're using their legal authority as a political weapon, is one of the critiques that these judges are facing. There are people who are saying that these are left-leaning judges who are using that as a weapon against the administration. Now, that is a very serious and a bold claim. Who is it here? Elizabeth Wydra, president of the Accountability Center, says otherwise, stating that this is a matter of justice. It's not a matter of politics when it comes to the judicial branch. Now, that could be true. It could not be true. Maybe she has to say that. But in regards to rescinding grant money to sanctuary cities, these are some of President Trump's policies, rolling back DACA, the travel ban that we all know about with the majority Muslim countries, restriction on transgender folks from serving in the military, and abortion-related directives. So, a lot of people could say, this is completely partisan, or people who are in favor of these nationwide injunctions may be saying, well, the president is making unlawful orders. Therefore, the judges have to step in and actually exercise justice. But then I push back on that, because the travel ban, which people were saying was a racist order, the travel ban, which people are saying was completely based on bigotry, Islamophobia, that was upheld by the Supreme Court. So you have to ask yourself, are these justices that are invoking these nationwide injunctions, are they doing this based on the word of the law? Are they working within the confines of the law, or are they actually circumventing the law for political purposes? So that I think is a very interesting thing. And like I said, Justice Clarence Thomas, he said, universal injunctions are legally and historically dubious. If federal courts continue to issue them, this court is duty bound, meaning the Supreme Court is duty bound to adjudicate their authority to do so. So this is a very interesting topic, because like I said in the beginning, you have an elected president of the United States who is chosen by the people. to make decisions and to lead the country. And then on the other hand, you have unelected officials, federal judges, who can completely circumvent the will of the people. So I'm very interesting. I will stay up to date on that story and let you guys know what I find. Before we get into this next topic, we're going to cut to a break here in a second. I need to get some water. But we're going to play a clip from Representative or Congressman Doug Collins. Almost forgot his last name there. Now, Doug Collins, I love the guy. I love when let's see who else, Ted Cruz, Jim Jordan, those guys. I love listening to them and watching them at congressional hearings. They ask some very good questions, great questions. They paint such a great picture and give context to the subject at hand. So we're going to talk about the Mueller investigation and updates onto that. We know that the report has been out, and Attorney General Barr lay out in a 4-page summary stating that the bottom line is that there was no charge of collusion. That is what the report, that is what the investigation was about. Collusion on behalf of the president, working with the Russians to get him into office. After the report came out, Barr said, okay, this is a 4-page summary on a 448-page report. There's no collusion, and people went crazy. He released the report to the public, obviously a redacted version, and still, with it being in the hands of the public, still the Democrats are saying you are a liar, you're deceiving, blah, blah, blah. You know, that political mumbo jumbo. So I want to play a clip for you. We'll go to break and we will continue talking about that. I will see you guys in a bit.
The chairman orchestrated today's confrontation when he could have avoided it because he's more interested in the fight than fact-finding. Take the Mueller Report, which we've already heard quoted from. More than 99% of the Justice Department has offered to the chairman for an entire month. The chairman has refused to take a look at it. The Attorney General who volunteered to testify before the committee, the chairman changed the rules for the first time in the committee's 200-year history, thus blocking General Barr from testifying. I cannot emphasize this enough. The track record demonstrates he does not actually want information. He wants the fight, but not the truth. The closer he actually comes to obtaining information, the further we run from it. But you know what's interesting to me is that we've subpoenaed the documents. We've subpoenaed that we want underlying documents. We've subpoenaed stuff that we can't get. But you know the one thing that we seem to avoid is Mr. Mueller himself, the one who wrote it. We've asked since April about Mr. Mueller coming. But every time we seem to get closer to Mueller, Mueller just gets pushed on a little bit. Hadn't seen a subpoena here. And this is what's really amazing. We'll get back to subpoenas in a moment. But just think about that. You wanted the work of the author, but you don't want to talk to the author. Keep that penned for just a moment. When we look at this, 99% of the information is at the Democrats' fingertips. And it's a Mueller report Attorney General offered to Speaker Pelosi, Chairman Allen, and others have seen it, but they refuse. So don't be fooled.
Hey guys, welcome back to the second segment of the show. We're almost done here, actually. I'm just going to take a sip of this water. That's good. We are going to talk about what we just heard with Congressman Doug Collins. Very interesting, isn't it? Very interesting that you can get all the answers you want. The Democrats can get all the answers they want. They can grill Bob Mueller, the originator, the creator of the report that was disseminated to the public. He is the one that has been invested in this investigation for 2 years, about $40 million later. He knows the ins and the outs. He knows the resources used. Why I find it curious that the Democrats do not want to get him to testify. They keep on delaying Mueller from testifying, and it's coming out that Mueller doesn't want to testify, and that's curious to me. I'm sure he would want to have a press conference. I'm sure the Democrats want to have multiple press conferences where they aren't being cross-examined, where Mueller's not being cross-examined. Because the issue is, if Bob Mueller does testify before Congress, yes, it's going to be nice when the Democrats get their 5-minute segments to question him and make the report seem how they want it to seem. But when the Republicans get to question him on the hard questions, and when rubber hits the road, that's when it's going to be very revealing as to what actually took place and what the bottom line assertions are, and that the fact that AG Barr was actually correct in saying, listen, the investigation was looking into presidential collusion with the Russians. And Bob Mueller, after 2 years with a legal dream team, they came up with nothing. That's the bottom line. There's nothing. Let's move on. Let's better the country. Let's work together to get some legislation done instead of playing these political games. But still, they persist. And the Democrats, they want to impeach the president. They want to go all the way, but doing that could seal their fate for 2020. We are seeing hysteria here like never before. So I want all of us, don't turn on the news, don't turn on, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. I want you, whenever those hearings come on, those congressional hearings, turn on C-SPAN, they stream them on YouTube, watch the congressional hearings, watch them for yourself. There's nothing wrong if you want to watch the mainstream media, but I think you should use that to supplement the actual source of news. Because nowadays news, they spin, guys, they spin. And I'm not a news anchor by any means or any stretch of the imagination. This is completely opinion right here. This is my podcast. This is opinion. I am an unapologetic conservative. But the goal is to be objective. You guys have a good night. We'll see you in the next one.